Danvers. My name is Gayla Bartlett, and I am the host of Lead On. And today we are going to be talking with another wonderful community leader. Today I have the honor of speaking with my good friend, Dr. Djoko, who is the chairman of the Danvers Human Rights and Inclusion Committee. Hello, Dee. How are you?
Very good, Gayla. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. I know you're very busy working and still in the front lines during COVID, so I appreciate your time.
No problem.
So recently we've seen you at the Pride flag raising. So if you want to talk about that, I know the committee was active in planning and facilitating that.
Yes, I mean, what a great event DCAT helped us put together. Thanks to Greg Dolan, yourself, and the whole DCAT community. It was important for us that despite the COVID-19 and the pandemic, we do not skip this year. Right. It's really a cause that we believe in, and we believe in equality for our LGBTQ plus community. And we wanted to do, although it was a smaller event, and people are home now, right. So we wanted to bring it to people's home. And that's why we put the event together.
And it was great. It was great to see you speak, and it was great to have that continue. So that is something that the committee has been participating in for quite a few years, correct?
That is correct. I think this was our 7th year.
Wow, okay.
Doing it. We usually do it in front of town hall with a group of residents and the participation of SUFA from the school. This year we did actually have some SUFA kids who were able to help raise the flags, not at town hall, but at other locations.
Yeah, that was wonderful.
Nice. And you know, I will admit that although we have made a lot of progress, there's still a lot of work to do. And I could not have said it better than Lila in that small tribute and video where he gave 5 basic things that each of us can do to not only support the cause, but to make sure that our LGBTQ plus friends, brothers and sisters feel safe and welcome in our town. And I remember he started by just saying things like, you know, support the business that support the LGBTQ, and then provide visibility in your support. You know, like hanging a flag. You know, that's if someone sees a pride flag, then they know, you know, this is an accepting place. You know, so there's some basic things that each of us can do to make sure that we promote that equality.
Right. So I think another topic, since it is Pride Month, so that was great that you were there for that. I think that's wonderful. We had Hope on our show a couple weeks ago when we talked about the North Shore Pride and about the whole entire Pride celebration being virtual and all the different things they were doing. So that was exciting that they had a fundraising event and for Citizens In and did some other really cool things. So that was great as well. So now with the things that are going on. So we're in COVID-19 still, working up to stage 2, and now we have the racial riots that have started. So horrifying, because I remember being in high school and we had this back in the 90s, and with the police brutality and the injustice, and having similar things happen then that are happening now. I mean, we start with the peaceful protest, which are the peaceful protesters, but then the crowd that comes in at night isn't our protesters that are there in the day. These are people that are coming in and looting and doing things that, you know, don't go to the cause. So what is your feedback on that as chair of the committee, and how do you see the Danvers Human Rights and Inclusion Committee helping to educate or to do something for this?
Oh, that's a loaded question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You have 2 hours.
Yeah.
Well, I would say I've been thinking about this for the past week, and I wanted to speak out. I wanted to say something, but I wasn't really quite sure what to say. But then I came to the conclusion that, you know, saying nothing is worse than saying anything, right? Especially with what's going on. My heart goes out to the Foy family. No human being, I have not been able to watch that whole 9-minute video. And I'm someone from the healthcare profession who have seen unfortunately, people, pass away in my hands, right? In my
Mm.
line of work. But it was so horrifying and despicable that someone, an officer, a police officer, that's there to protect us. That's the person that's on the first line of defense. When I was speaking the other day, I was talking about our first responder. For someone that we count on and who has all that power to behave that way was completely unacceptable. You can't be the arresting officer, the judge, the jury, and the executor in 9 minutes.
Right.
Our system doesn't work that way. And it was also a quick reminder of things that had happened before.
Right.
Thanks God this happened on TV and everybody saw it.
Yeah.
But there are countless instances of of those issues and that brutality that happens all the time that we are not aware of. Imagine that that video didn't exist. We probably
Wouldn't
would
know.
never know the name George Floyd.
Right.
So it was really devastating.
Mm.
And and the protest, everybody, well, not everybody, but there are some people who are focusing on where there's protest, there's riot. We need to take a step back and think about what are people protesting for?
Mm-hmm.
What are the demonstration for?
Right.
What are people asking? I don't think anyone out there is asking to take from Paul and give to John, right? That's not what people are asking. People are just asking that our justice system, is just. It's like the Statue of Liberty, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what people are asking. They are asking for some kind of uh, equality. We're all human. We're all one race.
Mm-hmm.
We want to look at each other as brothers and sisters,
Right.
and that's what people are asking for. So in my mind, and feel free to interject if you want to, but in my mind, the way I look at this is acknowledging that we have a problem
Mm-hmm.
is not an admission of guilt. And that's why I think a lot of people are not getting why there's that protest. We need to acknowledge, because if we don't acknowledge that there's a problem, if we don't acknowledge that there's systemic racism,
Mm-hmm.
then we can start working on the solution.
Right.
So we want to be able to, number one, acknowledge that the problem exists,
Mm-hmm.
the problem is there, and then how do we work to get solutions to
Right.
solve that problem? And the fact that, Gayla says, you know what, I agree. There's injustice out there. I agree. There's racism out there. That doesn't mean Gayla is guilty of anything,
Right.
you know. And so I really support the peaceful protest.
Right.
I think people have to not only stop at the peaceful protest, but continue their activism.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as the committee is concerned, the Human Rights and Inclusion
Right.
Committee, we are fortunate in Denver to have such a committee. We work along our school administrators and the police.
Absolutely. The things you do with the students is amazing.
Exactly, to try to build a better world for all of us.
Right.
Are we perfect? Absolutely not. Do we still have a lot of work to do? You bet we do. And in the upcoming weeks and months, as we get out of this pandemic, I'm hopeful that the activism and the energy that our youth and our residents are having continues, and that it doesn't stop, so that we can make it better for all of us.
Well said. Absolutely. And I think another important thing is that we have to remember that it's not all police officers either. And I know some of our town officers are feeling the pain of, and the take a knee and supporting their other officers who are good officers. I think we need to remember that there are good everywhere that we see. There's good and there's bad, but I think that's another heartbreaking thing is to see the police officers who risk their lives, who are good cops,
Yes.
that are being just pulled into everyone's saying that they're all bad when they're not.
And they are not all bad. And I really commend our police chief for calling that murder out, because that's what I call it.
Yep.
But no, they are not all bad.
Right.
And I love my Denver's police.
Right.
It's just important that we continue to, work and have that community policing.
Yep.
We all have biases,
yep.
one way or another. That's just the nature of human beings. The problem starts to arise when people act on those biases. And that's when we start getting into some issues, and this will take a lot of education, a lot of conversation.
Right.
And it's also very, very important that the good cops, like you call them, our good officers, call out the bad cops. Right. Because you see, in this instance, one person had the knee on the neck, and there were 3 other people there standing. And if there was no video, I don't know what the police report would have reflected. So right. Maybe one of those 3 was a good cop, but the fact that he remained silent,
right,
when he was saying a bad cop do something bad, then you become an accomplice.
Absolutely. Yep.
And that's very important, because we don't want the good ones to stay silent, because that ruins the whole profession, right? It gives a bad reputation to the profession. So it's important that we win out the bad ones. We continue with, community policing. Mm-hmm. We have conversation among, community and police. We have a diverse police force. That's also very important. It's important that the police reflects the community that they're serving, right?
Yep.
So those are some of the basic things that we can start to do, or continue to do, to make it better.
Absolutely. And I know we had talked before the show, so I wanted to just talk about this briefly. Danvers for Racial Justice is having a peace vigil tomorrow at 5 o'clock, from 5 to 6:30, and they're meeting on Maple Street downtown. And I had asked you prior if your committee had planned this, and you told me no. So if you want to just explain who's behind this, if you can tell us.
Yes. So there was a group of Danvers residents. So let me just preface by saying Danvers for Racial Justice is not an outside group coming into town to do anything. These are Danvers residents who had reached out to the committee and wanted to show their solidarity to the cause that all the peaceful protesters out there are asking, which is justice for all. Mm-hmm. They reached out and they were asking if the committee was planning something, a demonstration. But because of COVID-19 and the quarantine and all the logistics and the open meeting law, as a committee, we were unable to put an official event together. Right. So they decided to move forward, and they called the event Danvers for Justice. I know some of our committee members are involved into helping them with the organization. Mm-hmm. And I will be attending the event myself, and I know a lot of committee members will be attending. I think it's great. And this was it was amazing. It was a group of older, college, and high schooler getting together, creating a Zoom and saying, this is what we want to do. And it was very, very, I really appreciate that. I really appreciate the fact that people, like I told you earlier, we need to admit that there's a problem. And that admission of a problem is not an admission of guilt at all. Mm-hmm. So I think it would be a great event. My only ask to everyone that's going to be attending will be, please, and this is now putting my healthcare provider hat on, we're still in the middle of a pandemic. Yes, yes. Please bring your mask. If you have gloves, you want to wear them, fine. But we want to, we want to recognize that COVID is still out there. Yeah. Bring your mask. Do as much social distances as you can. It's a good thing that it's outdoor. So we know that outdoor is much safer than inside. So I really encourage, people to come out and show their support to the cause, because at the end of the day, we don't want to lose sight as to what is being asked of people. We don't want to lose sight of the cause that we're defending, which is justice and equality for all.
Right.
And on a personal note on that, sometimes, like I told you before the show, I was saying dinner at my house hasn't been the same for the past week. And I just want to tell my Danvers brothers and sisters, and even outside of Danvers, that some of these issues sometimes can feel a little foreign for a lot of people, and no fault of their own. Right. It could feel that, well, this is happening in Minneapolis, it's in DC, it's in Boston. Right. We're a little Danvers, we're all nice to each other. We don't really have any issues. So, I mean, it doesn't really affect us, right? Well, breaking news, it does affect us. And Dr. King said it best. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Absolutely. And I can tell you that for the first time, on the personal note, for the first time since 1998, my mom called me and she was worried for me.
Yeah.
I mean, it was heartbreaking to hear her voice and how she was concerned, how she was upset. I came back from work last week. My youngest daughter had written with chalk on the pavement of our driveway, Black Lives Matters. I tear up when I saw it.
Yeah.
And it, no child should have, now this is 2 generations now. I'm in the middle. I have my mom, I have my daughter. They're all concerned about the same thing. Yep. And then when I said, why? She said, well, I'm worried. What's going to happen to you or my brother? My dad, who is blind, will not go to bed until I'm back from work. Sometimes I work late. Sometimes I work until midnight.
Oh, wow.
He will sit there and wait for me to get back before he can go to bed. So I don't want to make this about me.
Yeah.
But this is just an example of the fact that what is happening elsewhere, even though might seem foreign for a lot of our brothers and sisters that we love around town, is hitting home.
Right.
It's hitting home in a personal and a deep way.
Right.
So when people go out there tomorrow and hold their sign and express their anger to what happened, it's important that they don't stop there, but that they also express their hope to what is to come.
Absolutely.
We want to change this. We want to make it so that I don't tense up if I get out of Danvers,
Right.
The kids that we're raising here are going to leave Danvers one way or another. They'll go to college. They'll continue their life elsewhere. So what we do here is going to impact them for the rest of their life. And that's why I was really pleased by the initiatives of these residents. And I think that, after that little demonstration tomorrow, we have to continue do the conversation and do basic things. This is not something where we want people to do strange things, right? You can't, things are not going to change overnight. There are basic things that we need to do. Acknowledge the fact that it exists. Continue to work with our schools on the curriculum.
Right.
What kind of history is being taught? You know, how do we have some Black authors in our libraries so that they know about the Black history, the real Black history?
Right.
Basically, explain to our kids. You know, I have one of the authors. What's her name? I remember someone once said, I think it was Ruby Bridge. She said, each and every one of us is born with a clean heart. Our babies know nothing about hate or racism, but soon they begin to learn. And only from us. We keep racism alive. We pass it to our children. We owe it to our children to help them keep their clean start. You know, it's important. And I remember I read an author one time who said kids start to notice race at the age as early as 6 months. And when a child asks, "Oh, mommy, why is that guy brown?" It seems impolite, right? It's like, "Oh, don't say that. That's not nice." No, it's important that we use opportunities like that as a teaching moment. But they're brown because they're different. They're brown because they have a little more melanin on top of their skin. It's the genes. It's the same as you're a little taller than your sister, right? And it's a good thing they are brown. It doesn't make them less than. So basic things like that, kids pick up on. Every opportunity we have as a teaching moment can help us as a society and as a human race to lift us up. And I'm hopeful. I am very hopeful that is where this is going. Something this time feels different.
Right.
I don't know what it is, but it just feels different. And the youth, and I mean, look at those crowds out there. You know, the diversity among them, the enthusiasm, the determination.
Yeah, they're smaller kids.
Just feel different. And I'm hopeful that, you know, that is where our country is going, and that is where we're gonna go.
Good. Absolutely. That's wonderful. Thank you, Dee, for that. I really appreciate that and your thoughts and being chair of the committee. And we have things coming up. I know it looks a little different for next year. We're not sure what our school year is going to look like yet, but I know your committee will still do our Dr. Martin Luther King celebration in some form.
Definitely. It's very important. We haven't decided as to what form. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen next week, right? 2 months ago, we were in the studio, and now we have to do this from far. We definitely will be continuing to celebrate the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King. It's funny, last year during my remark, I said, I'm looking forward to the day where the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King is going to go from in progress to complete. And the past few weeks, I felt like it's gone from in progress to incomplete or to fail. But I still have hope. Like I said, the amount of outreach and love and support that I'm seeing out there from all. I mean, look, even outside of the United States, you know, people are saying Black Lives Matters because it does. And you know, I was reading. I saw a sign of a 9-year-old the other day. He said, "At what age do I go from being handsome to being a threat?" Right? So, and it broke my heart. 9 years old. So I'm very, very hopeful that it's going to get better. We will find a way to continue to celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King based on the circumstances and what the school is going to be like. And even before Dr. Martin Luther King, we will also do something for our July 4th reading of the Declaration of Independence.
Absolutely.
I think, and this is our 10th year. It was going to be our 10th anniversary. It was a program that was started way back 10 years ago by Sally Cairns, and a couple of people just stood there and started reading that document, the Declaration of Independence. And it's continued since then. It has grown.
Mhm.
We will find a way to do it virtually this year
Okay.
because we think it's important.
Absolutely.
We think it's important that we continue to hold these truths to be self-evidence, that all men are created equal by their creator with certain unalienable rights, and that among these are liberty, justice, and the pursuit of happiness. I hope I quoted that right, but that is important that we continue that. So that's some of the things that we're going to
Are
be
coming
doing
up.
coming up. Yes,
Wonderful. Well, Dee, I just want to thank you so much again for your time. It's been wonderful to speak with you today and to get your feedback on what's been going on and the wonderful things that your group continues to do. We appreciate everything that you do for Danvers and our community. So thank you so much.
thank
And
you for having me, and please, Danvers, let's continue to take action. Our meetings, when the quarantine is over,
yep,
we welcome all those participants, all the I've gotten so many inquiry about how to get involved. That's a good thing. That's giving me
yep,
hope. Our meetings are the third Thursday of the month
okay,
after we get out of the quarantine.
yep,
Usually we meet either at town hall or the police station,
okay.
depending. I hope that it becomes so small that we start meeting in a big auditorium with a
Oh,
lot
that'd be
more
nice.
people.
Yep,
So all are welcome, and we need to continue to work together as a community to
absolutely.
make it better and acknowledge the fact that yes, racism exists, we have biases, but we're gonna try to work toward making it better.
Wonderful. All
Thank
right.
you, Dana.
Thank
You
you.
you be well and stay
You.
safe.
Thank you. Well,
Thank you.
thank you, Danvers, and make sure you join us next time as we talk to some other wonderful community leaders here in our area on our lead on episodes. Thank you so much and have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.